Yo, what is going on? Looks like we are officially live on YouTube. Guys, bear with me 1 second if you're joining me live. Just leave a comment, drop a comment. If you're joining live right now, drop a comment where you're tuning in from. What I'm doing is I'm getting us live on IG. Looks like we just got live on Instagram. And I'm making sure that I have the ability to share my computer screen because today we're going to be talking about how to effectively leverage OPM, which has been a absolute cheat code in my career and in my business. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and close the door. All right, that way I'm not distracting everybody else in the house. All right, we are officially back. So, guys, if you're joining in on IG Live, do me a favor. I'm gonna drop right now. I'm just gonna share something so that you're able to get on the YouTube channel in case you want to come over to the YouTube channel, which is where it's actually at. I love being on the YouTube. So, guys, bear with me 1 second because tonight's gonna be a meaty episode. It's gonna be an iPad sesh kind of episode. What's going on, Sam? How you feeling today, bro?
I was in the wrong studio.
I
You
had
made
a
a
feeling. Yeah, I was like, where is this guy? I'm like, I got no clue where he is.
you made a different stream today, and I was over there like, "Where's Marlon?" And then I look at you and I look at your social media. I'm like, "He's live," and I'm like, "I'm live," and I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" So
Yeah,
I'm
man.
here now.
Dude, all good. I'm just getting something set up. So for the people on IG, I want to be able to bring them on. So
Yes.
I'm gonna pass the mic over to you for 2 seconds while I get this set up on YouTube because I want the guys who are on Instagram and the girls who are on Instagram. Cause I see we got a lot of people. What's up, Chris? What up, Maddie? What up, Justin? I see the people on Instagram. I want to be able to let you guys come over to the YouTube channel. So I'm just setting up an automation so you can come over to the live stream. But Sam, what are we going to be talking about? You already
Dude,
got that
I
ready?
I loved I love today. Today's going to be huge because we're going to talk about basically how you can go and buy a ton of real estate, right? How to buy real estate properties, whether it's single family, multifamily, self storage, doesn't really matter. How to buy deals and add to your portfolio with none of your own money. So, there's this kind of this big misconception in the industry where influencers will go and say like, "Hey, I bought this with no money, it cost me nothing, this, that, and the other." The reality is there were costs incurred, right? You paid the seller 10 grand, the agent got paid 5 grand, whatever it is. The reality is there's a key to buying real estate, and it's not about with no money, it's without your own money. So today I think it's going to be huge, man, because I think we're going to serve two groups of people. We're going to serve the operators, right? Guys like you and me who go and find deals. We're deal operators. We buy the stuff. We do the thing. It's going to serve guys like us because and if you're like us and you're the guy who is getting deals, finding deals, you want to know how to be able to go buy more real estate with none of your own capital. So you don't have to, spend 50 grand out of your own bank account to do it. So we're going to
Yep.
show you the best practices for you to attract that private capital to you. And then the other group of people, man, and I'm going to say this, I really want to help them as much, if not more. And those are the people who are going to watch this and they're thinking like, "Hey, dude, I'm not an operator. I'm not a deal finder, but I do have 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 sitting in a savings account or a 401k or something. And like, it's just not doing anything for me." And a lot of these people, man, I've realized as I talk to so many of these folks, they're like, "Hey, Sam, I work at W2. I've got all this money in my bank account. I want to be able to get involved in real estate. I have the money, but I don't have the time. And I don't want to be a wholesaler. I don't want to go and call sellers. I just want to be involved in a deal." But here's what they're afraid of. They hear the horror stories, right? Of people lending money out and not getting paid back. They hear, operators ghosting, this, that, and the other. So today, man, I want to, as much as we can, I really want to do this, especially for the lenders, because they're the people that I want to protect, is we want to show them, here's the documents that, the types of documents that you need, the paperwork to protect yourself, how to look at a deal properly, how to, in my opinion, this is really important, how to vet an operator as well. That's a huge, huge thing. So I want to be able to cover all that. It's going to be a jam-packed hour, dude. So I'm excited.
Dude, I'm hyped. Are you sharing a whiteboard today or iPad or you don't have an
Dude,
iPad
it
today?
never works for me. I don't know. StreamYard has it out for me. It never, ever works for me.
All good, brother. I got my iPad, so what I'll end up, Jason Lombardi. What's going on, Jason? Hanging coming in from Venice. What I'll do, bro, is I will share my iPad too as we're going through and we're taking notes because this is arguably the most important thing I can share with you guys from my real estate journey when I understood raising private capital and when I understood how to be someone that was worthy of receiving other people's money.
Mm.
My business. It ultimately allowed me to go out and do what I never thought was possible, which was buy a boatload of property in a short period of time. So I'm personally super excited about this. This is a conversation where I'm going to be taking notes for myself personally, but also for you guys on the screen. So Sam, what do we want to start off? Do we want to start off talking with the operators and the lenders? But real quick, before we even start that, dude, have you been working out?
No, you know me. No.
Dude, your arms are like filling out the shirt. Like you're looking solid right now, bro.
Size medium.
I
Medium
like
is the
it.
answer. That's the thing. No, I'm just kidding. No, not even close. One day. I'm not going to commit to that because I know you and you hold me to shit that I say. So we're going to continue. But dude, yeah, no. What I want to do is this. I really want to hit on this because I think we should look at the operators first, right? The people who are deal finders. Okay. And you said something that kind of sparked something. You said, I became the person who was worthy of receiving, right? I think, man, from a mindset perspective, so many operators get into this industry and they think it's like, I'm in it, I see a deal, I want to buy the deal, like I should get other people's money. And then you said something that's very unique. You said that you wanted to become the person, you became the person who was worthy to now start receiving. You didn't get in the industry and start just like saying, hey, everyone, give me 50 grand, right? Like you had probably no idea what you were doing at the time, right? But you had to build. You had to build relationships and knowledge and experience by doing some forms of transaction, whether that's wholesaling or working for somebody else. You had to get acclimated to the industry to know what you were talking about. And then I want to hit on this because, dude, this was something big for me. At what point did you decide or realize, hey, man, I'm worthy of receiving other people's money. I am worthy of that woman who has $50,000 in her bank account that she's worked her ass off for. I am worthy to receive that. How'd you get to that point?
Yeah, and it's funny you use 50,000 as the number because that was actually my first private money loan was for $50,000. Shout out to Tanisha. If she's watching this, she was my first private money lender. Love you, Tanisha. I got to that place of feeling worthy for the money after I must have been maybe about deal 9 or deal 10 into my business career. So I was already, post the year and a half mark in business. I was following my mentors. My mentors had told me, Marlon, when you find a good deal, the money will find you. And I realized I had heard the advice, but I wasn't using it. And everyone's been there where you get really good advice, but you don't start using it yet. And so I found myself in a place where I'm like, okay, they keep telling me the money will find me. Like I will have the money to buy a good deal if I simply get a good deal. And obviously, we know if we're wholesaling properties and we're doing cash wholesales, we have good deals. That's the only reason people are buying it from us and paying us a premium. So when I decided I was going to keep the deal, I was exercising advice from a trusted, vetted mentor who was guiding me along the way. At that point, I had a track record of following through on my commitments, aka I set goals in my wholesale business that I had already achieved. So I trusted myself to simply follow through on my own word. I was making my word impeccable at that point. And ultimately, I had asked myself a very serious question. No one else interviewed me and asked me this. I interviewed myself and asked me this. I said, Marlon, what if the deal goes south? What if everything goes belly up and even with all your best intention and all the guidance, the deal still shits the bed? What are you going to do then? And I made up my mind that even if that were to occur, I would get my lender paid back no matter what, even if it meant I had to go pick up a job at McDonald's. Like I was that convicted on I would do the right thing no matter what, no matter how much time it took to do the right thing, that ultimately my heart is in the right place and I'm willing to back up that intention with action. When I got to that point, that's what made me feel worthy enough to even begin asking for money. I shouldn't even say asking for money, but I should say, because even there, my mindset has shifted where I don't ask for money. I give people the opportunity to do deals with me.
So, okay. I freaking love that. And it's kind of a do whatever it takes mentality. And this is one thing that is important in your foundation, right? And I think that operators, guys, if you guys are deal finders, you guys want to start buying properties, this is what is not okay. What's not okay is this. You can't say, hey, I'm going to buy a property based on all of my underwriting, based on all of my deal analysis. It looks like it's a good deal and it should make money and we should be fine. What you should be asking, you do all that stuff, don't get me wrong. But what you should be doing is saying, hey, in a month of heavy vacancies, in a month where we have rehab that needs to come up and it's unexpected and there's, the holding costs and there's not a tenant in place and we have to cover some extra money, right? You have to be thinking are those bills going to be paid? And what I'm seeing now, man, is there's an alarming amount of operators out there who if the deal doesn't pay for it, no one's getting paid. If the deal doesn't magically produce the money, I'm not going to pay the mortgage. I'm not going to pay my lenders. I'm not going to pay all the things. That's not an answer. That is not a solution at all. That's running from the problem. And what I love about Marlon is he said, hey, no matter what, even if things go all the way south, if I have to humble myself and go and pick up a minimum wage job flipping burgers, I'm going to do that. And the key, why? What's the reason? Marlon, why are you willing to go flip burgers to do that?
It's just the mentality of knowing that no matter what, I'm going to take care of my people because they put their faith in me. I want to make sure that's something I think is more valuable than the money they even give, is that they trust me. And so I never want to do anything to deteriorate trust. And that's just from my personal makeup. I optimize my life for relationships. So even if the deal went south, I still want to make sure I have a relationship with my person no matter what happens. So that willingness to go flip burgers, obviously, it's more of a figure of speech. I'd go do something higher leverage than flip burgers, but it's just letting them know no matter what happens, Sam, I'm going to have their back.
So, okay. So good. So good. And I think that's it, man. The question of this, I want to move on from this, but the question that I posed is, how did you know you were ready? How did you know you were ready to receive? How did you know you were at the point internally where you deserved to have other people, right, put that level of trust in you? And it's when you internally came to the conclusion that no matter what it takes, I will make it right. And no one, hey, things may go south. It may not be convenient. It may be a stress ball for everybody, but no matter what, this person will not lose when they bet on me. It may take longer, but they're going to win. And that's the thing, guys. That's the thing for me, is that I was so new. I didn't start raising private capital for me to buy until I had done at least 50 deals. I had closed my fifth, and guys, don't get me wrong. I had the pressure of wanting to buy deals really early, right? But I kept telling myself, I just need more at bats. I just don't feel comfortable enough. I haven't, between us, a lot of my deals, I know you hate using me as an example for how quick did you get your first couple of deals. My problem was that I got a lot of success really quickly and things went really smooth. And you know what my concern was? I was 20, 30 deals in. And my concern was I haven't seen enough stuff go wrong yet. That was a concern for me. And I was afraid of when I buy a deal and things do go wrong, do I even know how to handle it, right? So I intentionally waited till we were beyond 50 closed transactions that I'm mostly, for the most part, wholesaling on. And I got to see, I literally wanted to see enough things go wrong before I felt competent in myself that I'm not going to freak the heck out, that I'm going to be able to handle it. And if I don't know the answer, I know how to go find the answer. And then to your point, man, this is something key that I want every operator to hit on and to understand. We talked about this a few weeks ago about why you shouldn't start buying rentals until you make enough active income. I was hell-bent, bro, on making sure that my active income was high enough that if everything went wrong, I could still pay and not have to just go uproot my life to do it. So I was no matter what, it's going to be made right. But I made the upfront agreement with myself that no matter what, if this deal goes south and I owe you 50,000, 55, 60, 70K, right? It is my job to maintain my active income so much and so abundantly that if everything goes wrong, it won't even be an inconvenience before things go a month late, 2 months late, and we have to, and now there's all this stress involved. I'm just going to go and pay you out. like we're going to be good. And so what I want more operators to do, guys, is this, we talked about this, right? When you start buying rentals, I want operators to take their active income way more seriously, because your active income is a hedge against buying bad deals, against getting caught with holding costs and rehabs and all these things that you didn't know were going to happen in a tenant, you know, or someone like squatting and then having a 4-month eviction process, like all of that stuff. Your hedge against that is your active income and the willingness and the agreement internally and with your partners, if you have partners in your active income, to say, hey, if this goes wrong, I am going to tap into this money to make things right over here.
And can we just clarify this too? When you say active income, do you mean that people need to go in wholesale?
No, not one bit. Your active income can be whatever. Guys, for me, it was wholesaling, right? That was my form of active income. Now, if your form of active income is, you know, if you're a flipper, if you are, I don't know, a coach, if you're doing whatever the heck you're doing in life that's providing your liquidity to be able to pay the bills on a monthly basis, right? Whatever that is, just have a nest egg that is enough to either satiate what you owe, or even if it's not, enough to like be able to say like, hey, I know I owe you, you know, $100,000. I don't have all of that up front right now, but guess what? I'm going to give you 20 grand this next week as a show of good faith to show you that I am committed. I have skin in this. I'm going to send you that right now. And guess what that does, guys? That one little thing. Marlon, do you think that goes really freaking far with lenders?
It goes huge.
Huge.
What it does is it instills confidence in you. Like it makes them more confident in you, right? Like, and this is the part that I want people to remember and understand, because when we're going out and raising private money, it's just like it's sales to a degree, right? Like when we go out as operators and we talk to other people, and if I'm selling a product, in this case myself, I want to do everything to make the product more valuable. The more valuable the product, the easier it is to sell. So if I'm telling my person, my lender, hey, by the way, you know, like Sam is saying, I still am very much actively making income. It's steadily coming in either through my wholesale or through my W-2 or whatever the case is. I can show that person that we are actively producing income and producing revenue. This is going to make them feel safer about you being a good bet, you being a good place to place the money, not just the deal alone, right? The deal alone, this is assuming you already have a deal that pencils out well. We're talking about you as the operator to perform on that deal. Show them that you as an operator are valuable. You as the operator, I would argue, is more valuable than just having the good deal. But you need both.
You 100% need both. And the reality is this, guys, deals can go south. Deals go south. There's so many things that go into deals. So many things that can influence a deal working or not working based on your sub-market that you're in, right? And it's interesting. So I want to hit on this, right? So we already understand a lot of what makes internally from a mindset perspective, what makes a good operator. Someone who's willing to just do the damn thing. Someone who's willing to just commit to their word and hold it above all else, right? Here's a few things, because Jason Lombardi asked a great question. So I want to transition a little bit, because guys, I'm going to be completely honest. When it comes down to raising private capital and how to do it, that's a 3-hour long topic on a dedicated masterclass. And then how to secure yourself, that's probably like a 5-hour topic on a dedicated masterclass. But in the interest of time, I want to shift gears just a little bit, okay? And because this serves the operators and this serves the lenders. The deals matter, right? I was in Houston, Texas with Abraham Gray a couple months ago, one of the best lenders in our ecosystem, right? He's a phenomenal human being. The dude makes like 150 grand per month in like interest only. It's like insane how much he lends. And then he looks at the operator. He cares about their experience. He cares about who they are. But he also cares at the end of the day, like if you can secure yourself to a proper good deal and your securement is phenomenal, like that's going to alleviate so many problems, or it'll give you a route, a path that you know how to pursue, you know how to navigate if things go wrong. So I love this. For an operator, I want us to talk to the operators for a little bit more. How does an operator know that a deal is a good deal to take to someone? Like what are some good indicators of a good deal?
I'll show you a good indicator of a good deal. So I'm going to draw right? Like let's say we've got, I'm going to use a house because we're in real estate and we talk a lot about real estate. And let's say we got this property over here that the operator wants to buy. And this property has an ARV 500K, right? And they're trying to figure out, well, what's a good deal? Well, let's say this property needs a rehab of 100K, right? Like this property is deeply distressed. But this person, this operator, has the potential to purchase the property at 150K. Sam, would you say that this is a good deal? Right, ARV's 500K, rehab's only 100K, and they have the ability to purchase the property at $150,000.
Yeah. So if you guys, I'm gonna brush over miscellaneous little costs, but from a raw cost here, property's worth 500. With your purchase and your rehab, you're all in at 250, right? You're all in at 50% of ARV. That's a safe deal.
This is a slam freaking dunk. And what happens here is the operator can simply, by finding a deal like this and contracting and controlling a deal like this, the operator can actually simply protect the investor by having equity in the deal. So what does this mean? It means if it's a case like this where Abraham, one of our good buddies, wants to lend on this deal, and Abraham himself is an active investor, and we'll talk about how a lender can protect themselves, right? Being an active investor or just knowing what the hell you're doing protects you as an investor. But Abraham can look at a deal like this and he can say, you know what, even if I lend it to the dumbest investor out there, my money, if I give my money to literally the dumbest person in real estate who's going to screw everything up, and they run away and they get lost in the project and they stop paying me, I can take over this project, right? He's looking at this project and says, I could take over this project and I can either sell it as is and make money, or I could finish the project and make money. So the way you protect your lender is by actually having a good deal that allows them to recoup their money or even make a profit in the as-is sale just due to equity, or if they take on the project, they can make an even larger profit margin, right? So does that make sense, Sam? Did I explain that well?
All day, all day. So I want to hit on this. So let's do this because a lot of people that are coming to us, right, guys, and that's it. Like the reality, like in the most basic, if I had to summarize what makes a good deal, like a good deal for you to take it to a lender, like the number one word that I can think of is spread. It needs to have a spread. If it's a cash deal, you need to have a big old spread. Okay. If it's a creative finance deal, right, we don't necessarily care too much. We do care about like ARV versus purchase price, the amount of equity. We want to see some good level of spread there. But what I care about on a creative finance deal is, do you have enough of a spread on your exit strategies? If you're going to do a long-term rental and your all-in holding cost $2,000, but your long-term rental is $1,500, you're going to lose $500 a month there. It's not a lot of spread there. That's not super safe. And so you better have other exit strategies that do have spreads, because if they don't, you're jeopardizing someone else's money. And what I really want people to understand is that operators, and then we're going to move on to lenders here in a sec, but operators, when you're out there vetting deals, right, looking for deals to see if this is a good deal for me to take down, your goal is not to be like, I have a deal, I want to do the deal, and I want to get the deal no matter what. And that means that I am going to like just bring in someone, have them fun. Like your mindset should be, I am here to take care of the lender first. Not the deal first, not my own ego first, so I have another door in my portfolio. Your goal is, how do I take care of not my lender, my freaking friend? Because if you do this right, you will become friends. You will become close. And you wouldn't screw over a friend, so you shouldn't ever screw over a lender. You wouldn't put, dude, I love this saying. It's like, would you allow your mom to invest in this? Would you allow your grandma to invest in this? If the answer is no, then it's not a good deal.
In fact, that's something that I had a person that had a mental block around asking friends and family for money. And I said to them, I asked them, I said, why are you having such an issue, raising money from friends and family? And they said, well, what if I screw up and I lose their money? I said, and you don't feel the same way about a stranger's money? That's kind of messed up. You need to check your morals. In fact, if I don't feel comfortable asking my parents to lend, if I don't feel comfortable asking my family members to lend, it means I don't have confidence in the deal, or I don't have confidence in myself, in which case I'm not ready. There's still work that needs to be done internally for me. By the way, and as I say this, my brother, my mother, and my father, all three have actively lent in my deals, and my brother is actively still lending on a deal with me to this day. So I love that I get to make my family money. I you don't know how cool that freaking feels to me that like the youngest kid in the family gets to like I'm contributing to their lives. I'm making them money. Like that's freaking nuts.
Dude, I love that. One of my first lenders was my mom on the first deal that I ever bought. So I love that. I absolutely love that. I want to shift gears here. And I want to talk to the lenders, guys. And so, guys, if you're in the side chat and you like whether you identify as a lender or not, what you want to ask yourself is, do you have people around you that have money sitting in their bank accounts, right? You may be the operator, but there's other people around you. And I want you to start putting yourself in their shoes. Like, I want you to adopt their level of thinking here, because if we understand how to secure lenders, we understand how to make it a win for them. We can understand how to make it a win for us, and it allows you to go buy more properties. Okay. So for a lender, let's hit on this, man. What type of documents, paperwork do they need to secure themselves? Like, what instruments do they need to secure themselves in a deal?
Yeah, they're going to need two things. And by the way, guys, I just want to say, because I appreciate everyone that's been dropping comments, asking questions in the chat. Make sure you hang out to the end. We are going to absolutely get to all of your questions on the sidebar, because there are some awesome questions being asked. And if you're on Instagram, comment YouTube to come over to the YouTube channel. As far as what paperwork that lenders are going to need, first off, you want to make sure you have two very important vehicles, which is going to be a promissory note, which is going to actually say how much is owed. It's going to describe the terms of the interest that's being paid, the amount of money that's being borrowed, the time frame in which it's supposed to be returned to you, the escalation clause in case it goes over that time frame. It's going to have all the details of the actual lending. So you want to think of this as like the operating agreement of an LLC. It actually explains how the LLC will be used. Your promissory note actually explains how your loan is going to go between you and your borrower. So
it sounds like it's the instruction manual, it's the step-by-step, it's the contract between the two. Like this sounds like it's like the holy document amongst everything.
It is one of the most important pieces. I mean, like it's exactly what you said. It is the instruction manual behind this loan. So this is so important that anything you discuss with the person that you're lending money to, the promissory note needs to reflect it. If it's not said in the promissory note, it has not been said. I'm just going to say that. So if you're like, well, we talked about it, if it's not in the promissory note, if it's not written, it's not real.
Okay. I want to hit that. I want to hit on that so much, guys. Like, a lot of times what's going to happen is verbal agreements. All of my contracts on my purchase and sale agreement, when I wholesale or buy a house, right? Forget the lending side. Even when I wholesale, there is a clause that says all verbal agreements basically are irrelevant. They don't exist unless they are explicitly written on paper and signed by both parties. Like, that is it. It doesn't matter, guys, if you're a lender and you have this operator telling you, yeah, like, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to secure the property against this, that, and the other. We're going to make payments. I'm going to make sure that I'm making a payment every month on this date, this, that, and the other. And if things go wrong, the unfortunate truth is, if you do go to court, God forbid you do go to court, none of that stuff's going to hold up because it wasn't written. It wasn't documented. It's going to be a mess in the legal system. It's called hearsay, right? He said, she said. No one can really prove what was said. No one can really prove what was known or agreed upon. All that you have to be able to do is make sure that every little variable, how much is going to be paid, what type of work, hell, what the communication schedule needs to look like. This is what, bro, I'm going to get into this in a minute, but you and I have a firm belief on communication and lending. Communication scheduling, guys, should be in the operating agreement. An agreement between both parties that says, this is the amount of times that I am, as an operator, am required to give you an update on the deal, on the project, on your money, XYZ. And even if there isn't an update, we're still going to have the meeting or the call or the text or the email. So we're honoring that operating agreement. So, okay, operating agreement.
I love this because, guys, we're live right now. This is a live conversation. This is happening in real time. So if you're hanging out in the chat, do me a favor and comment, I will be smart. If you plan on being an intelligent intelligent investor, if you plan on being an intelligent lender, an intelligent operator, someone who's worthy of receiving money, I just want to know who's watching right now that is listening and is getting nuggets from this. Comment right now, I will be smart. Right? I want to know if this is resonating. So we recognize a promissory note as the first document that is absolutely critical. If you are lending without a promissory note, stop following us, because you are not choosing to be smart. You are choosing to be stupid. I will call you that to your face if you need me to. I will shake you. Right? Victor says he will be smart. Sam is going to be smart. The second piece of documentation that you need to properly secure yourself now as a lender is you want to make sure that there is a promissory note and a lien position, a mortgage against the property. So you want to have a first or second lien position on the property. Ideally, you want to go for first. Are there times where you can go for second? Absolutely. Heck, are there times where you could go for third? Absolutely. But what matters? Like, Sam, when would it ever be appropriate for a person to be in a second lien position or a third lien position or even a fourth lien position? When would it be okay? And what does a lien position even mean?
Love it. Love it. Okay, guys, I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. When you go buy a property, okay, and this really applies, this doesn't really apply too much to cash deals. This applies heavily to creative finance deals. And guys, I know there's already questions. Josh has questions about sub-2 and creative finance deals. And creative finance deals are the ones that have usually more going on with liens. So lien position is simply this. On the property, on public record, there is an order of priority, in a list, one by one, right? Person 1, person 2, person 3, a priority list of who is going to get paid, what they're owed. And so if like everything goes to hell, right? Property gets foreclosed or the property gets sold on market, whatever happens, right? The asset gets liquidated. The lien positions are the orders and the instructions of who's going to get paid first, by how much. And then so the person in first position is the first to be secured and the first to be paid out if things go south, right? And then in second position, after first position's been paid out, then the guy in second position who's owed 50 grand, then he gets paid out. Then in third position, fourth position, so on and so forth. Guys, liens can get messy. And here's the thing. Is there anything inherently wrong with second or third or fourth? No.
Absolutely not.
No. The key is this, what you guys want. And Marlon, can you, like, I think if you can like whiteboard some, this would be huge. So guys, and this is critical. There's nothing wrong with being in second position, third position, fourth position, none of that. What we want to see though, is the deal itself safe enough? Meaning, does it have enough equity, right? If the deal's worth $500,000 and Wells Fargo is in first position with 100 grand and you're in position with, you're in second position with 100 grand, that's still super safe. Because if the property sells at 500 grand, Wells Fargo gets paid out their 100K, there's 400 grand left over on that sale. And then your 100 grand is going to come next. You're going to be fine. What we care about is there enough spread? Guys, this all comes back to the word spread. Mm-hmm. Absolutely comes back to the word spread.
So I love that. Again, you are securing yourself with equity. I know creative financing is awesome, and creative financing is a way to get into a deal when equity might not exist. However, I'm looking for equity. Like, I'm not going out and looking not for equity. If I can find equity, I'm taking equity over creativity any day of the week, because equity is so damn smart. I don't need to be creative. It's that good. So we got our promissory note. We've got our first, second, third lien positions, AKA. So these are our deeds of trust, right? This is what actually collateralizes your money. So if you only have a promissory note, and let me take this down. If you only have a promissory note, recognize this. A promissory note talks about who owes who what. It talks about how the payments are going to happen. But a promissory note by itself, not secured against anything, is effectively a IOU written on a piece of paper. It doesn't actually do much good. It's the deed of trust, right? This acts as this is what collateralizes the property, right? So you need something, you need a document. In this case, in real estate, it's a deed of trust that collateralizes the property, so that the promissory note says, if you do not pay, then I can resecure my funds. I can get myself settled and whole again by taking this asset over here and doing what I wish in return of taking this asset. So this is hugely critical.
I want to hit on this. I want to hit on this and just kind of provide a different perspective on it, just so it hits, because this is what he's saying is so important, guys. I'm going to try to be as basic and simple as possible. A promissory note on its own is an agreement. Let's just say everyone signed it. It's been docu-signed. Awesome. If that operator ghosts, they drop off the face of the earth, they get abducted by Martians, they're not paying the mortgage, they're not paying you, you are not getting a hold of them, right? That note, all you can do with that note in and of itself is maybe pursue a civil litigation against them. That's it. You cannot go and take ownership of the property. You cannot go and foreclose on the property and then sell it and get your money out. The securement, right, guys? What we say, it's you want a promissory note. That's part one. That's the agreement. But it's honestly not worth much at all unless it is secured by a deed of trust. This is like, I want you guys psychologically to think about this. You're taking that promissory note and you are stapling it to the side of the house. Now that note is attached to the home on public record. So when people go and pull, they do a title search on the property, or you go look at the assessor's website and you can go actually look up all the liens that are attached to the house. You'll see a promissory note that is attached, right? Anthony's like, promissory equals I promise. And that's effectively it, right? What you want to do is make sure, and this is where I see a lot of lenders get like totally screwed over, bro, is they'll trust the operator. Yeah, let's sign a promissory note. Let's get it done. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone signs it. Cool. I'm going to send this off to my attorney, my TC, my title company. We're going to get it attached. And you know what most lenders don't do? They do not go and independently double check that it was recorded on public record. And then, guys, your operator may not even be in the wrong here. His TC might have screwed up. The clerk may have screwed up. The title company may have screwed up. But regardless, the outcome is your promissory note was not actually attached on public record, and then it's worthless. And then very often, depending on the amount of money that you're lending to this person, it may cost you more money to pursue a lawsuit than you could possibly, or maybe just too much headache, and it may not even be worth it. You may spend 5, 6, 7, 10 grand to pursue a lawsuit and pursue civil litigation against this human being, but you only gave them like 20 grand. It may not be worth all of the time and the stress and the money. So what I want you guys to do, lenders, listen to this. After you sign a promissory note, give it a few days so it gets recorded, but you need to be diligent. Do not trust the operator. Do not trust the TC or the title company. You need to be able to go to the assessor's website or get in touch with the county directly yourself and verify that it was attached properly, right? Trust, but verify always. That's huge.
Absolutely. And please, if you, and like this needs to be said because it's happened. I've spoken with lenders that have made this mistake. Please, if you do lend to someone and you only ever signed a DocuSign between you and the operator and you didn't go through a title company, there wasn't another closing. There will be a closing at the end of a lend, right? Even if it's a refinancing, right? This is actually something that triggers a closing occurs as a result of doing this, as of going through a title company. So if you're like, well, I didn't talk to anyone from a title company, then odds are your operator didn't go through the proper processes. Anytime I use private money, we go through my title company and there's a new closing that occurs on the same property. Even if I already own the property, there's another closing that occurs. It's just like refinancing with a big bank. It's the same process. So I love this, Sam.
Huge. Guys, I'm going to say this because sometimes I always forget. This is such a default to me. Like I forget that this needs to be said. Lenders, you are never, and I mean never, allowed to just wire money to the operator. Not a thing. Don't do it. Marlon and I will never ask you to just wire us 50 grand to go buy a property. Like, I promise you that right now. Like, I straight up, we will not ask you to wire us money. When we go through a deal and we buy real estate, we worked with title companies. We work with escrow attorneys, and they have these things called escrow accounts. And what those things are, they're separate bank accounts that hold the money in limbo. And they're I would say, an objective third party, and they will not release funds unless everyone agrees on it. right? So do not send us money. Do not send an operator directly money. Guys, I don't care what the deal is. I don't care if it's EMD for $1,000. What I've been seeing, man, is I'd love a certain program that's teaching people how to get into EMD lending and transactional lending. I've been seeing, because it's easy and they don't think it's a big deal because it's only $1,000 or $500, they've been zelling the money. They've been Venmoing the money. Guys, freaking recipe for disaster. It may work the first few times. Eventually, I promise you, stuff will go wrong. Circumstances change, right? Stuff will hit the fan. And then what's going to end up happening is your 5,000 that you sent, your 1,000 that you sent on that EMD through that Zelle. Do you think Zelle's going to step in and say, yeah, we're going to get you that money back? No. Zelle is hardcore. Like we are not referees here. You hit send, you've agreed to it going, and it is gone. This is why we use escrow accounts that have title companies or attorneys attached to them, so your money can be basically held by a referee, right? A third party. Anthony says, don't get got. Love that. So, Marlon, I want to hit on this. How do we, this is a great point. If you're a lender and an operator brings you a deal and the deal doesn't have a ton of equity, right? Let's say they need 50,000 to bring the deal up, renovate it, do all these things. But the deal itself, that one subject property, does not have enough equity in it. Is that it? Do you not lend on it? Or is there other things that you can do to still make it work?
There are other things that we could do to make it work. In fact, there are things lenders could do to make this deal even sweeter for them, because they would potentially be taking on more risk, right? Like, risk is mitigated for a lender by us having equity. But if I bring a deal to a lender, let's say it's a creative deal, and perhaps I'm raising money for my entry fee, which means for people that are new to creative, this means that I might be able to take over somebody's mortgage, but maybe I need to catch up their late payments. They are in pre-foreclosure, so I've got to spend $20,000 to get the property current. But as a result, I'm going to be all in on this property after I take over their mortgage for exactly what the house is worth, ARV. So there's zero equity. If I go to sell the house tomorrow, there's not any money left over. And the person who's coming in as a private money loan in second position on this particular deal, because there's a first position mortgage already, is actually going to put the house underwater, which means it owes more than it's worth. A lender might still be interested in lending on this deal if the operator can cross-collateralize that loan with something else of value, right? So if you could cross-collateralize, maybe you own a property free and clear that's a separate house. It's not a part of this transaction, except it's acting as collateral. That can be valuable to the lender, because what could happen there is the lender might say, you know what, you screwed up on the creative finance property. As a result, I get to take back ownership of your free and clear property. I get a much more valuable asset over here. So effectively, they are now controlling, let's say the house is only worth $100,000. They're getting a $100,000 property for $20,000 that they put on this other property that was underwater. So that's one way that a lender could look at saying, hey, I would still be willing to get into this deal if, in fact, you can show me that my money can be secured and protected by equity elsewhere.
Love that. That's it, guys. And don't get me wrong, there's actually a bunch of different ways you can get more creative about it and secure people against other assets. It may not even be a property, maybe a business, right? If you have a business that's been performing for 10 years and like it's making, $50,000 a month in pure cash flow that's just sitting there, and you can be secured through, let's just say, maybe an operating agreement or maybe some other form of private agreement that's being held in an escrow account that's attached to the business. Like, there's other ways to secure your investment. Absolutely. What I don't like seeing is this. Operators, guys, I'm sorry. I love sub 2 deals. I'm literally about to buy a new sub 2 deal, like in the next, we're about to go into contract this week. I literally just went and wanted to buy this property so I can have a house near Marlin. Like, that was my only goal, is like, I'm going to go buy a house in Phoenix, Arizona, just so I can spend more time with Marlin. That's literally it. That deal doesn't have an amazing amount of equity, right? But to your point, my lender is going to be cross-collateralized against a deal that has literally over $200,000 of equity that's just sitting there. And it's a huge, huge safety net, right? Massive safety net that protects them. And then on top of that, I've got massive liquidity. Like, we're good. What I don't like seeing is operators who get into the industry and they only buy no equity sub 2 deals over and over and over and over again. Because then your cross collateralization is what? Your no equity deal to a deal that has maybe a bit of equity. And that's where lenders get caught in really bad points is, and it doesn't mean that the operator is a bad person. It doesn't mean that they're doing anything like inherently wrong. All that's happening is we look at risk diversification, right? People talk so much crap on Dave Ramsey, bro. Dave Ramsey is right on a lot of things.
I actually like Dave Ramsey, and you're looking at a guy who was trained by Robert Kiyosaki, right? Like I went through Kiyosaki's program, and I'm telling you right now, I love Dave Ramsey, right? In fact, I like to look at like how do we create a Dave Kiyosaki approach to real estate and to investing, because that
I
in
love
my
that.
opinion, is the best.
Dude, I love that. Dave Ramsey it's kind of funny. He talks about diversification to mitigate risk. You know what's risky, guys? If you're a lender, putting all of your money with one type of transaction, one type of deal, and it's no equity sub 2s. At what point, if something goes wrong and the whole system comes toppling down, you have nothing else to secure your money, right? You have nothing else to collateralize against. That's the dangerous point with going after nothing but lending on no equity, low equity sub 2s. And that's another thing. And as a lender, guys, I'm sorry to my operators who are newbies. This is not going to be fun for you, but I'm speaking here, and this is me speaking for myself. I tell all of my lenders this, bro. If you're a lender and you're especially a newer lender, you should not be lending on someone else's first deal. That's it. Why? Because that operator, like, unless you can prove this person's like, amazing human being and they're going to step up no matter what. They're like Marlon when he first got started. Like, unless it's like that, they just haven't paid down their ignorance debt yet. They don't have the experience enough yet, right? And here's the other thing. I don't like lenders, man. I tell all my lenders this. Do not lend to people that don't have other streams of income and other streams of liquidity that they can tap into. What I always see, I love doing this thing called pattern recognition, where it's like I see a lot of things go wrong and I want to figure out what are like the key similarities with all situations. And I had a lender, man, one of my favorite lenders. His name's Mike. Mike and his wife Liz are amazing people, and they lent to like 7 people, dude, in like the course of a year, right? I was one of them. All 6 of the others went wrong. All 6 of them. Everything went bad. And here's the key. The worst ones, you know what the pattern recognition was? That those other operators had no other viable streams of income that could even put a dent in what they were owed, right? And so what ended up happening is the only chance the operator has of paying you back is the deal magically working. But if the deal's not working, it's probably not going to magically start working. And then so with us, like on the deal that they lent on, bro, we had an eviction. It took 4 months. We couldn't rent it out. We literally had to evict someone. You know what I did for those 4 months?
Kept paying your lender.
I just kept paying them. I paid everything on, never missed, never a day late, never half a day late, never a minute late. And the only reason I was able to do that is because I had other income streams on the side that I was willing and no brainer, 100%. Take all the money that you need to until we can get this eviction handled, and then we can go into rehab. Then we can go into getting a tenant in place. So if you're a lender, right? If that operator, it's their first deal, that's not the end of the world, but I want you maybe being a little bit more restrictive of that, right? Being a little bit, wait till they have a track record of success, right? Let other people go take that risk. If you're a lender, does that operator have other streams of income? Are they wholesaling? Are they flipping? Are they doing something in the world that's making them 5, 10, 15 grand a month, ideally? Because at that point, and why do I care about more money on the operator side? Because it's a drop in the bucket for them to make it right. One of our mentors, Pace Morby, I love him to death. Dude owns like 2,300 plus units or something, I think, right now. Massive portfolio. Do you guys think all the deals are going perfectly right? Nope. I know for a fact they're not. Deals go wrong. Rehabs, evictions, all of these things. They underwrote the deal wrong. They had bad information, whatever. Rents go down, area goes down, house burns down, all these things. The deal stops paying for itself. The key with Pace Morby is the dude does so many other things in life that makes him so much money that it's a drop in the bucket for him to make it right. And therefore it's a no-brainer. So if you're a lender, you don't like, don't get me wrong, you can lend to Pace Mortgage. I'm sure that's a safe investment, but you don't have to go find someone who's making as much as he does. Just find someone who has other streams of income, who has liquidity, where at the end of the day, it's not like, what I keep seeing is this, man, lenders have a deal go bad and the operator who they thought was crushing life ends up saying, hey, I need 6 months because then now I need to go and start wholesaling. I need to go and start working. I need to go and do all these things. And I'm glad that they're willing to do that. But if you worked with the right operator, you know what's going to happen? They'll be like, oh my God, deal went south. I owe you 50. Sweet. Give me a day. We're going to wire you 50 grand because I have it, because we make money doing all these other things. And as a lender, guys, like, operators are going to hate me saying this, but like, that should be the standard. Marlon said this. He was ready and he was deserving to receive the money. I like using this phrase. You are a steward of other people's money. You are a steward of other people's, like, let's be honest, guys, like, money actually does make the world go round. Money is people's safety net in life to support their livelihoods. So as operators, guys, don't just start going and buying a ton of properties, buying a ton of deals. If you are an operator and you haven't done a bunch of deals before and you're not making a ton of money, you need to go watch an episode that we did recently about why you shouldn't buy rentals. And we break all of it down. That you need to watch that episode. It's fantastic. Marlon, we got 5 minutes, dude. Let's answer some questions, yeah?
Yeah, I want to answer questions. And while we're pulling up some questions, if you do me a favor, find the question that we want to answer first. By the way, guys, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. If we get good enough questions, I'd be willing to go a little bit longer to answer everyone's questions, because I enjoy and appreciate that you guys show up live, that you're active in the chat, and I want to reward that behavior. So for asking questions, showing up, being here live, let's make sure you do not walk away here tonight without getting your questions answered. But I do want to say this, and this is critical, absolutely critical. Also, I want to set this standard and expectation around how many deals you need to go out and do. There seems to be like this race to buy deals from a vanity number aspect, to be able to say, I bought 3 deals, I bought 10 deals, I bought 15 deals. In fact, I know when a person starts talking about their success in terms of deals and not in terms of cash flow, or not in terms of net worth, or not in terms of net profit, I know that that person is still newer, and they're telling me about their deals as a way of trying to have me or anybody else be impressed by them, versus talking about the things that actually matter, which is, hey, you know what? We bought a really great property here. And why is it a great property? Because we have this much equity in it. We've got, our net worth has increased this much. It allows for depreciation. It allows for cash flow. It gives me this. It gives me that. It gives me this. It gives me that. So a way for an investor to protect themselves is simply talk with the potential operator and understand what are their intentions behind the purchase. What is the intention behind the use of the money? And find out in full detail, not just, hey, we want to go buy the deal. Lay out the next 5 years for me of this property if you're cute, if you're holding on to it. Or lay out start to finish if you're flipping it. How long will it take? Like, it's okay to ask those questions. You're not rude. Stop being afraid to ask those questions. I love when my lenders ask me questions. Quite frankly, half the time, I have to tell my lenders, you haven't asked me these questions yet, and these are things you should know, because although I'm not going to screw you over, I'm afraid of you doing what you did with me with somebody else and getting screwed over. In fact, one of my lenders, Yatang, she and I had this conversation. She said, she jokingly, we were on the phone a few months ago, and Sam, I think you were there. I think I had her on speaker when I was with you when we were driving in the RV.
Oh, in the RV.
Yep. And she literally said, Marlon, I realized with you, I did everything wrong. And I said, Yatang, I was trying to tell you that during us doing the transaction, but she had so much faith and trusted me so much that she allowed the bad behavior. But that was my concern. I was concerned that if she went and worked with someone else, that it wouldn't be the same good experience that she had with me. So I want y'all to protect yourself. So if anyone ever wants to learn how to be a lender, come and talk to Sam or I, right? Like, let it work through your first deal, as we have opportunities, and we don't always have opportunities just readily available because we vet our opportunities. We say no to a lot of deals, but talk to us. And what we'll do with you, if it's your first time or if you're still early in your lending, what we want to make sure you are prepared to do is to be able to lend to other people outside of us. That's critical. So Sam, do we got a question that we want to pull up on the screen?
Dude, we've got so many. It's funny. I wanted to hit on this. Someone said on Instagram, guys, if you guys are on Instagram or on Facebook, hop over to YouTube because we can't actually see your comments unless we go to Instagram, and we're just not doing that. But dude, someone said you're making me realize I didn't do enough due diligence before I did this last $105,000 PML. Will let you know if I get smoked. Wow.
I really hope whoever that is does not get smoked.
Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. I'm gonna say this right now for the next like month or two because like I'm in a good mood, and I'm finally back on social media. I've been off social media for like three weeks now. If you were a lender and you were about to, and you're new, and you're about to put money into someone, not my deals, not Marlon's, someone else's deals, and you want a second set of eyes, feel free to reach out to me, DM me. I'll give it a quick look, and I'll openly tell you if you're gonna get slaughtered or not. Like, because we can spot the red flags a mile away that you may not be able to yet. And like, I'll spot them a mile away. Feel free to DM me. So 100%. One thing I want to hit on though, this is not a question, but I want to hit on this. Gator to close. Thank you so much. I have no idea who you are. I wish I knew your actual name.
I freaking love Tim. What's up, Tim?
That's who? Oh, okay. Okay. So thank you, dude. So much. Awesome. Here's what I want to hit on the Gator stuff. I'm seeing a lot of Gators do this with EMD transactions. They're trying to secure themselves with JVs alone. Guys, remember, a JV is great and it protects you to a degree in escrow, this, that, and the other, but a deal could go south. Like, that's just the way it is. JVs can sometimes be a little bit loose. I'm not going to get into it, but I see JVs fall apart really quickly if they're not executed the right way. Okay. Houston, love Houston. Houston's a great dude. Some of the best. I don't know if he still has his.
He's got the best mustache in the game.
Oh, he still has it. Okay, great. I'm not in Arizona, so I don't get to see the update. Like, so great. Yeah, I was about to say some of the best facial hair ever. So, would the promissory note / deed of trust be recorded on the property with equity? So, yes, the deed of trust, right? So, a promissory note is just a paper. It's an agreement. It's an IOU with both signatures on it. Whatever. The deed of trust is an instrument. It's a vehicle that secures it. Like, think about it this way. Your title company is going to take your promissory note, go to the house and staple that piece of paper to the house. That deed of trust needs to be secured, attached to the property, and it's going to be reflected on public record. Yes. Can you attach a deed of trust to a property with little to no equity? 100%, but it doesn't actually matter. If you're in second position or third position, and there's two other guys before you in the lien position, like holding lien positions, and by the time the money gets to you, there is no money. It doesn't matter if it's secured. You're secured technically against the house, sure, but there's no equity there. Equity is what you're actually looking for. So if you're trying to do deals with an operator and the deal itself doesn't have enough equity, cool. You can secure it against that deal and then cross-collateralize it against another property that does have equity. So that's huge.
The best way I could explain this is, we live in America, a very litigious country where people sue for everything. And let's say that you go and the homeless man down the street takes a baseball bat to your brand new Bentley. And we've got it on camera. We got footage. We got all the things. You can go ahead and sue that homeless man and you can win that lawsuit. But at the end of the day, when the judge orders the homeless man to pay, he does not actually have money. So he can be ordered to pay, but if there's no money to collect, there's no money to collect. So securing your promissory note and securing against the property without equity is kind of like suing a homeless man. You need to make sure that there's actually money to collect. This is critical. So I love this, man. Love these questions. These are such good. You guys ask freaking good questions. So shout out to you guys for being here. And I love it. More people keep joining. I don't know if you guys are sharing this, if you guys are getting so much value. In fact, if you are getting value, do me a favor and share this out because I'm happy to answer questions about this until we're blue in the face. In fact, I think we need to have a Sam masterclass come up soon. I'm going to beg Sam to do a masterclass. I love Sam's masterclasses. I'm going to beg you
on raising private capital.
Oh, dude. Oh, hell yeah, dude.
You guys, no one knows this. Marlon knows this because he was there. I did a private. We were on stage in Vegas together, and I did like an 1.5-hour breakdown on how I started raising private capital. Raised over $1 million when I first tried doing it, and then made a ton of people a ton of money. Secured them the right way. So if you guys want us to do a masterclass on lending, on how to raise the capital, and also if you're a lender, how to secure it and how to keep yourself safe, like we're 100% there. Oh, that's funny. Okay, how should a PMP protect themselves when getting in a deal? I love this. Okay, guys, anyone is like, what's a PMP? Like, we have pimps in real estate. It's a real thing. So there's PMLs, which are private money lenders. And I'm going to keep this very basic. A private money lender does not own the property. They are not they are not on the deed. They don't control it. They don't control the asset. What a private money lender, a PML, is doing is they're saying, here's 50 grand. I want 8, 10, 12, 15% interest paid out to me. That's a lender. A lender is basically just a silent partner who's funded. That's it. A PMP is a little bit more intense. Okay. That's when someone says, hey, I'm a capital partner. I'm not just lending you my money for interest. I'm giving you my money and I am getting equity in the deal. It might be 50%, might be 20%, might be 10%. It might be 10% equity plus an interest fee, right? Whatever it is, a PMP has more control over the asset. Now, how should a PMP protect themselves when getting in a deal? You're still going to do the promissory note. You're still going to do the deed of trust that's secured in a lien position that has enough equity, ideally, right? Like, you're still going to do those things. But a PMP is now a partner, an owner. And so, Marlon, when you're an owner of the asset, let's do this. Who owns the asset?
Right now, in a PMP position, you're
Yes.
going to have the borrower owns the asset as well as the lender. So both individuals will actually own the property in a PMP situation.
And they do that usually by having one LLC or one entity, right? It's 123 Main Street LLC is the one that's buying the property. And so you, as a PMP, Tiffany, you need to be onboarded as an owner of the LLC. That's the key. And then you will, like, you know how we mentioned the promissory note that's going to have all of these it's a basic instruction manual, right? On the PMP side, when you get into onboarded as a owner of the LLC, your instruction manuals are stipulated where? In your operating agreement. So you're going to be an owner in the LLC, might be a 50% owner, might be a 20% owner, might be a 30% owner, but whatever your agreement is for your payout. Do I get depreciation? Do I get profit share on the cash flow? Do I get to make decisions in the event XYZ happens? All of that is stipulated in the operating agreement that owns the asset. So as a PMP, you're not just a lender with just a promissory note. You get that stuff, take care of yourself, but you are taking it to the next level. You are becoming an owner of the asset. So you need to make sure that you're secured in the actual ownership of the asset itself.
And so I want to hit on this. And Tiffany, great last name, beautiful last name. When you are now getting in as an owner and you're getting that LLC, so 123 Main Street LLC owns the property, you have to take into account and consideration another critical document that private money lenders don't have to think about, and that's going to be your operating agreement. Because now your operating agreement is going to, just like your promissory note gave instructions about how the money is going to be used and paid back and when decisions are going to be made to escalate payments and things of that nature, your operating agreement is going to now explain the terms of ownership and what that actually looks like. So it's going to actually show how much control you do or don't have of the property. So it's important that you look this over because it could be possible that you're a 50% owner of the LLC and you have zero decision-making capability. It could be possible that you're an owner of the LLC at 50%. You could be a 55%. You could be a majority owner and still have less decision-making power because the operating agreement will actually dictate this. So as a PMP, you now need to be concerned with your promissory note, your deed of trust, and the operating agreement.
Love it.
Love it.
I want to hit on this one. This one's a great question. Where the hell is it? I just saw it. Simon, can you use your wholesale business as collateral? Show the lender the health of the business and bank account. Okay. Not legal advice. By the way, guys, none of this was legal advice. We're just two talking heads on YouTube, and we are just here for entertainment.
Yeah, we got to start doing disclaimers at the start of these episodes.
Yeah, we honestly, in every description, this is pure entertainment. We couldn't make it on Comedy Central, so we made it to YouTube instead. So, Simon, can you use your wholesale business as collateral? Technically, yes. Should you? Hell no.
My answer, I'm going to give the attorney answer. My answer is going to be, it depends.
It, Nick, right? Nick McGrew. That's like his thing. It depends. So here's a reason. There are stable, predictable businesses out there, and as someone with a relatively scaled wholesale operation, I've been doing wholesale for almost 3 years now. And I like you, anyone that follows me, like you guys know the level that we're operating in our wholesale level. It's pretty high end. I don't even use my wholesale business as like a collateral vehicle at all, because wholesale, there are a billion and one things outside of your control that make it unpredictable, that make it volatile. Even though we're really good at it and we get consistent, predictable results, I do not use it as a collateral vehicle because I understand that wholesaling can get banned in my market tomorrow. And then your collateral is worth jack all. Like Pennsylvania, Marlon, I don't know if you know this. Pennsylvania just outlawed wholesaling. We should actually talk about that.
I did. I saw that. I did.
Yeah,
See
we
that.
should actually have a day where we talk about the legalities that are coming up on the wholesaling industry. So I would not use a wholesale business as collateral. There's very few people like in the world that like have the go ahead to do that. And these are like guys who've been making millions a month for like 10 plus years. I don't want you doing that. I'm not going to do that. Marlon's not going to do that. If you are going to use another business, it needs to be a very safe, secure business. You're going to bring them on, stipulate things in your operating agreement if you possibly can, like have lawyer discussions with that. I 1,000% would not use a wholesale operation. That's too risky. And here's the other thing, guys. Guys, operators, I want you to understand this. You actually want your lenders to be discerning. You want your lenders to be tough cookies. You want your lenders to be tough closes. Because what ends up happening when you say, yeah, I'm going to go and secure you against my wholesale operation. And last month we made 50 grand but we've only been operating for a freaking year and you actually don't know what you're doing yet. The lender that says yes to that usually doesn't know any better. And when stuff goes wrong, that lender typically going to be a little bit more emotionally volatile. They're going to be more inexperienced and they don't know how to handle deals going wrong. So as an operator, remember, when you try to make life easy for yourself, you may be attracting people who are not ready to be lenders, and that alone can cause you problems. For me, like I am very clear about like, I don't take people who are so green. If you don't understand a lot of operators be like, oh my God, this lender doesn't understand what a lien position is. Yay, for me, this property doesn't have equity. I do not want the lender that'll say yes to that at all. Like at all, because you're just too green right now. And I need you to go learn and become more aware of how to take care of yourself because it makes me nervous that you don't know how to secure yourself.
Yeah,
So,
and I never thought I would be the type of person that would turn away like free cheap money. But as a result, I've learned not all money is cheap. I might be able to get money at a lower interest rate with a brand new lender because they just don't know that they could potentially get more for their money or whatever the case may be. But here's what I pay for. Here's what I pay with. I pay with patience because I end up having to deal with their phone calls when they're nervous and they want to update every 2 days. And I'm explaining to them like, hey, this is a 4-month project. There's literally nothing to update you on today. Or when they get a little stressed out and worried because what happened was they didn't tell you that the money they lent you is also the same money they need to pay their rent with this month. And so I actually vet my lenders and I qualify my lenders. And if I don't like their criteria, I actually won't allow people to lend to me. Right? Like I prefer people who are like, hey, my money's sitting in my 401k and I'm sick and tired of seeing it get less than a 4% ROI. Like, oh my gosh. Or my money is like I've got access to these 0%. This is actually a funny one. And like I deal with people with this because I came from this world. So I know it a little bit better than others. People that went and got massive amounts of funding, either through business or personal, on these 0% interest credit cards. They went through a program where they learned how to liquidate that money and they've got it 0% for 18 months and they're already 6 months in and they're like, I haven't found anything useful to put the money into. I like having conversations with them just because I came from that world of learning how to leverage credit. But ultimately, I never want to deal with a person who is on their last dollar, period.
yep,
Period. Like
yep.
I will give you advice. I will push you in another direction, but I will not take your money. Now,
the same goes for people who are that old thing in business and other businesses where people like, the problems you get with a $5 client versus a $5,000 client. The
yep.
$5 client is going to blow up your phone every 5 minutes of their lives, guys. Same thing goes for lenders. The lender who it's like they've never done a deal before, don't know anything about anything, and they need this money to magically pay them back in the next month. Otherwise, like their life is over. Trust me, as an operator, you don't want that headache. You do not want that stress, right? We pass on 99% of deals that are sent to us. I probably pass on at least like 50 to 60% of lenders that want to, probably even more than 60% of lenders that want to work with me, just because I can see from an energy perspective, this person's not where I need them to be a long-term partner with me in these endeavors. So huge.
I love that. Let's keep answering these questions. Real quick though, guys, if you're watching, I've noticed we've got a lot of people streaming in. We got people hopping in. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button. It does help us out a lot. I do appreciate it immensely. So if you could all go ahead and find that thumb on your screen right now, just take a minute to do it right now. I'm going to keep answering your questions, right? Like you're okay on that, but hit that like button and also do me a favor, hit subscribe if you haven't come to the channel before, if this is your first time, because this is a weekly podcast. We come here, and with this podcast, Sam gave us an ultimatum. He told me, he said, dude, this podcast, the only way we keep running this podcast is if we give out more value for free than people pay for in a $30,000 mentorship program. And I was actually kind of nervous about that in the beginning, but then I appreciated it as a challenge because Sam constantly challenges me. And he said, dude, if you're afraid, because I was nervous, I got to be honest, because guys, I'm a coach. Like I get paid for the things I know. I get paid to talk with people and to communicate and help them through being stuck, getting them unstuck. And Sam said, dude, if you are afraid to give away your best stuff for free, then you don't deserve to be doing what you're doing. He said, if you're afraid that you won't get better, you have no right to be in front of other people telling them how to get better. And so I took that as a personal challenge. And so this YouTube channel, anything that we put on our platform, we promise that it will be more valuable than things you have paid for. And many of you have already experienced that. So if you want to be a part of that, hit the subscribe button right now. Let's look at Victor's question here, because this was a good one. It made me think for a little bit. I thought for a moment I didn't know the answer, and then I realized, oh, wait, I do. He says, by the way, if the house is being foreclosed and attorney fees are added to first position loans and there are second positions, what order of payout are these attorney fees if it's in the first position lender, if the first position lender is foreclosing? So this one, and Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, the attorney fees are going to be a part of that first position lien, because if a person were to actually read those mortgage agreements that they signed onto when they collateralized in that promissory note, I can almost guarantee you, because I've looked through my own mortgages when I've refinanced properties and I've read through these like 100-page package, it actually spells out that if I'm late, if I'm behind on payment, these are the sort of fees I can expect, that they're going to be my responsibility. These are going to be the late fees, that any attorney costs that are incurred, I'll be responsible for. So they actually protect themselves in their mortgages, saying all the fees that you owe. Most people simply just sign without reading. I actually, I had a mobile notary come to my house, and she was kind of pissed off at me because I sat through and I read that entire. It was my first time seeing the package. Nowadays, I don't read through every word of it. I sat through and I read all 115 pages, and that's when I realized, like, holy crap! The big banks, the Chases and the Bank of Americas, they know how to protect themselves. They legitimately protect themselves. So, Victor, those attorney fees and all the additional fees that they tack on, most times they are doing that within their legal right. Now, if you really want to be a stickler and you want to check and read through to see, I would recommend doing that by all means. Like, that's what you hire an attorney for. And you might find that they're adding on fees that maybe they didn't put that their mortgage would protect them against. But typically, you're going to see that it is in writing that you are responsible as the borrower to pay back all fees incurred as a result of you not being on time with your payments.
Every contract, guys, if you're whatever mentorship you're in, most like quality mentorships will give you contracts like a purchase and sale agreement, a JV agreement, a lending agreement, all these things. And this is included in this too. You're going to see two standard subsections that almost every legitimate contract will have. Number one is literally titled attorney fees. Every PSA, every good purchase and sale agreement has attorney fees as a subsection, and it says like who's going to pay it. Usually, like it's all covered. And then the other one it's usually right after that or right before that. The second subsection you're always going to see is called jurisdiction, which means if this ever goes into legal proceedings, which state or which jurisdiction are we agreeing that the legal action will be housed in? So every contract that you ever sign, as long as it's drafted by a legitimate, and this is how you know the contract's legitimate, those two things are always put in there because those contracts are usually drafted by attorneys, and attorneys know to make sure they get paid. So whenever an attorney drafts a contract, they're going to make sure the attorney fees are in there and the jurisdictions in there. Those are huge. Dude, I love this question from Tiffany. She's asking phenomenal questions. And I feel like Tiffany's like, oh, shit, I probably didn't do everything right. Can you go back and add a promissory note and a deed of trust once a property has already closed? Can you?
I love that though. You asking for a friend.
Totally
Tiffany,
asking for a friend.
Totally asking for a friend. I've been there. So the answer is yes. Right, you can go back and you can absolutely get a promissory note and deed of trust recorded, even after y'all have done the transaction. The obvious issue that you would run into is you just need to make sure the person you're dealing with is of enough integrity to go and now do that, because that's work that should have been done already. But can you go and do it after the fact? The answer is absolutely legally. Yes, you could go ahead and do that. In fact, I did, and I'm not proud of this. Well, I kind of am proud of this. I actually did a situation just like this once where I did go back and we did get something recorded after the after this case, because I know Sam says never have someone send money to your bank account, and I absolutely agree with that. However, I had a lender that was like insistent on, let me just send you the money, because they were traveling out of country. They were going to be out of contact. They knew what we needed to do. They knew what timeline we were on. And even though I told them like, hey, let's just hang off and wait, they were like, dude, like, we trust you. We know you. We've been working with you. They had already lent to me plenty of times before. And so they lent it directly to my bank account so that they can go and disappear for a few days. And then we could get everything settled up after they got back. And that allowed me to continue with my project. But and that's how I know. I know from experience because we recorded everything after they came back.
Yeah. So the answer, Tiffany, is yes. So a lien can be a promissory note can be signed, just an agreement between the two parties, right? A deed of trust is like the securement of the instrument, right? Backed by a deed of trust. Like you're going to hear secured by a deed of trust, backed by a deed of trust, whatever. That's just it being secured on public record. It can happen after closing. It can happen a year later, 3 years later, 5 years later. It doesn't really matter when it is. So like to put that into perspective, I love sub 2 deals that have little to no equity. Like, don't get me wrong, I love them because they're phenomenal interest rates. Like I'm under contract to buy. We're about to buy a deal that has a 3.1% interest rate in Phoenix. And like the house is turnkey and beautiful and has a pool. Like it's great, right? And so like I want that house. That property doesn't have a ton of equity. But guess what? I have this other property that has $200,000 of equity and it's just sitting there. I'm going to go take my next lender, whoever I bring on as a lender for this deal, and I'm going to go secure their money on the subject property. But I'm also, that way it's attached to that house, but I'm also going to secure it to the one that actually has equity. And that house I've owned for years now. And then so a lot of like the big players, and I love this, Marlon, I think you and I have chatted about this in the past, because Marlon, you and I love lending. We love lending, especially on land deals, because we're first position, this, that, and the other. The thing about land deals, guys, land holds its value better than properties do, better than houses do, because there's less going on with it. There's less moving parts. So land, if you buy land at 50% of value, that's huge safety net. So a lot of big guys, I don't know if you know this, I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of big guys, they'll go buy gigantic plots of land, 50 cents on the dollar, right? With their own money, just so they have securement vehicles for other loans. And like, that's how they go and do it. And Pace Morby, dude, I was chatting with Pace. I love Pace. He always opens my mind up to new things. And I said, like, hey, dude, like, I've got, a couple $100,000 sitting in this property in equity. Like, what should I do with it? Like, I could do a million things, but what should I do with it? And he said something that was great. He's like, dude, you should go get a lender, not to go buy another property, but to go buy a business. And then if you need 150 grand from them to buy the business, secure it against, that property. And a lot of guys do this with land now. So for me, over the next 12 months, I'm probably just going to go buy a gigantic plot of land that's hyper safe and then use that as my securement vehicle. So Tiffany, when other people come to me and say, hey, Sam, I want to lend with you, even if it's a deal that doesn't have equity, I'm going to go and take them back to that piece of land that holds its value really strongly. And I'm going to secure them against that in safe lien positions that then, if worst case scenario, I disappear from the earth, they can foreclose on, sell it, and be secure in doing that. So I hope that that answers the question from your friend.
So I love that, right? And you and I have a good friend, Stephen Hunt, and also another good friend, Zachary Keeps, and like
love both those guys.
I love the way they are super. Everyone talks about, you don't need to be bankable, and it's true, you don't need to be bankable. However, they are setting themselves up to be bankable because it allows them to do creative things. When you understand how to properly structure yourself, how to properly structure deals, and how to properly borrow and lend, you start saying, well, if I know how to do this, I can go and deal with the people that have the most monies, which are the big banks. Yep. Right. And so going and creating equity, we got to do a master class on this stuff, bro. Because like this, it's really funny, man. A little side note, this is just me hanging out and talking to my buddy Sam right now. Like me and Sam are just kicking it. Something I started thinking about, I want to do today is I want to take the portfolio that I have in Milwaukee, right? And, I was kind of done with like doing stuff in Milwaukee. I'm actively looking at doing more stuff here in Arizona, but we already
have the biggest love-hate relationship with Milwaukee.
I do. Bro. I do. I hate how much I hate
Marlin and Milwaukee is a toxic relationship.
Dude, it is, right? It's a toxic relationship, but I mean, like, it's got that good. And so right now, what I'm looking at doing is possibly doing some more flips in Milwaukee for the sole purpose of actually paying off all the loans on all the properties that I have, right? I have 30-year long-term debt on all the properties, right? Which people are like, why would you ever want to do that? Because I believe in using debt, right? Like I love it, but I want to use a better debt vehicle. What I actually want to do, and this is from me and Steven talking, it's taking my portfolio, having it be free and clear, and then using that entire free and clear portfolio as collateral to get lines of credit now. So then it's effectively turning my portfolio into a credit card and then allowing me to go and deploy that credit wherever I want and be able to get things like 0% interest lines of credit of upward of, $1 million simply because I can cross collateralize the bank's debt against my properties. And the banks, I understand how the banks work, where if they can go out and put out good notes, even if it's not collecting interest, they have the ability to fractionalized reserve lend, which means they could take the $1 of a promissory note that I owe to them. And effectively, if they've got a good CAMEL score, aka the bank's credit score, they can lend out. I used to think it was only $9. They can actually lend out up to $12, which is nuts. And then they could go lend it to stupid borrowers who are going to go buy liabilities and pay high interest. So I effectively make them money. So it's a baller, right? Like,
dude, I want guys, like, I need you to put in the chat, like, let me know, say yes if you're actually getting value, because you guys don't realize this. I flew to a different state, paid for a mastermind ticket to have a backdoor conversation with someone who's got a lending business of it's going to be worth by the end of the next 12 months. It'll be worth about $100 million. They're going to sell it. And that's actually their strategy. And like, guys, I had to get my ass in a plane, pay a few $1,000s for a ticket to go have this private conversation. And Martin's like, cool, let me just talk about it on YouTube for free. So huge.
Yeah, guys, like, and by the way, I know just now I went over a lot of people's heads, and don't feel like, oh man, like I have no clue what you said. What I want you to do is actually just come back and rewatch this video like once a week or once a month until it no longer goes over your head. Because I promise you, if you listen to it a few times, you're gonna be like, whoa, that's what I heard. Yeah. So there's one more thing that came up, right? Josh asked this question. He said, I'm curious on, by the way, are you guys okay? Is this valuable that we're going so late? Like, Sam, I'm still zoomed up so high up getting old questions. I can't see. Are people getting value from being here right now?
I feel like not. Yeah, people are saying yes. Victor's like, yes. I think we're good, guys.
Cool. Drop fire emoji in the chat. And if you're on Instagram, please do me a favor. At least if you're on my Instagram. Pat said, thank you for the value. Pat, comment the word YouTube. Because if you're on Instagram, I don't see your comments until you come over to the YouTube channel. So I set up an automation that if you comment the word YouTube, it will DM you the link to the YouTube channel. Come hang out with us on YouTube. Like, I want you guys on YouTube, because that way we can bring your comments up on the screen. That way we can actually engage and have a back and forth conversation. So Josh says, I'm curious on how to buy a sub 2 without my money, since if I refinance out of it, it defeats the purpose on even doing a sub 2. Well, Josh, I'm going to say this. Being able to buy the sub 2 without any of your money is one thing, and then refinancing is a totally separate thing. So maybe you're thinking about the refinance because you might be thinking a combination of like a BRRRR strategy where you're using private money to get into a deal. And then upon getting into the deal, you're fixing it up, you're renovating it, you're renting it out, and then you're refinancing in order to pay your private money lender back. Now, Josh, what a lot of people do when they purchase sub 2s is they simply keep their private money lender in place, and they have an agreement that the private money lender is going to hold their money still for, let's say, 12 months. And so the private money lender acts more as a placeholder. And the way that they typically refinance their private money lender out isn't by refinancing the first position, but they refinance their private money lender with, you guessed it, another private money lender. Now, this is something I've done. I currently have a property that I literally have this exact thing going on where I have a private money lender in place. With this, Josh, you have to, and this is why I said a lender needs to vet their operator by finding out what is the lifetime plan and intention with the property. Because my private money lender on this particular deal, I have a 5-year agreement with my private money lender. So my private money lender's money is in place. They're getting a return from me over the course of 5 years. They get paid out monthly. But what am I doing? Why did I ask for 5 years? Because during that time, this particular property cash flows enough that it's actually building up the reserves in order to then cash my private money lender out at the end of 4 years. And so the 5th year is it's a bonus year. It's a year to give me more time in case I need it, or it's a year to build up the war chest a little bit more. And so ultimately, because this property had such high cash flow, I was willing to take on a private money lender that I wouldn't need to refinance out the first position mortgage, because the first position is a 2.75% interest rate. So I don't want to lose my interest rate, because that's the most valuable piece to me. Unless I could get a 0% interest, I don't want to give up the 2.75% interest. And so, Josh, that's what we would do when we're looking at a property. As far as if we needed to refinance the property in total, again, what would I want to see? Maybe it's a creative deal. Although it has a great interest rate, it also has so much freaking equity that I want to tap into some of that equity early. And so I'd be willing to go up on interest rate if I were able to, pull out $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 of cash back at refinance. Sam, would you agree? Like, is anything else that comes to you for this particular question that Josh asked?
No, you hit it. So what I want Josh to remember is that a refinance is a tool to use at the right times when you need to use it for strategic reasons. Usually you do refinance when opportunity cost is like a big consideration. And so love sub 2 deals. You should, in my opinion, people should buy sub 2 deals if they're ready and right for it. But dude, like, you crushed it. I don't, there's nothing else that I would add to that.
Heck freaking yes. So absolutely love that. And also, I finally scrolled down, seeing the love inside the comments. Appreciate you guys. I'm also seeing people from Instagram or commenting YouTube and coming over to the chat. What's up, Pat? Yeah, this is freaking amazing. Now, Anthony, he said did we get to Anthony's question? He said he asked a question, but he had to go to work. I don't think we pulled Anthony's question up on the screen. I think
found it. So totally off topic, but it's okay. What's the best way to pull a pre-foreclosure list in my city? So pre-foreclosure lists are not actually handled at the city level. They are handled at the county level. So depending on your state, depending on your county, you can actually look these things up. Now, they may have an online presence. If they do, then you literally just want to become a data miner and then just see what it takes to be able to pull the data directly off of the website if they publish it. Now, if they publish it, then you're totally fine. Then you can SOP what it looks like, how intensive it is. Maybe it's easy enough for you to do it. Maybe you want to hand it off to a virtual assistant. But then your county may also not publish online. A lot of counties If you guys didn't realize, counties freaking suck. They're government. They're like governments, and governments may not have like a fully functioning, amazing website. Okay, so it's in Redding, California. Oh, that's okay. I know Redding, California. So I don't know about if the county is going to have an online presence. I know for sure California, in terms, because I live in California. California is pretty difficult to pull pre-foreclosure foreclosure stuff, and you may even run into paywalls. So the county may end up charging you. So if it is extremely tedious, or if they do have a paywall, or let's just say they do not provide the data, that's not like made publicly available, what you can do is you can go to a vendor or a company that has backdoor integration, that like has the established connections with them. The big thing with counties, guys, is straight up, counties don't want real estate wholesalers bugging them every freaking 5 minutes of their lives. Like, they got way too much work to do. They do not want wholesalers like bugging them. So you can hit up a few different companies to see. There's a few companies that like are reputable that you can 100% get the data from, and they'll just do the work for you. You just pay them. So if you guys want that connection, no, do not use a title company. And here's why. Title companies may give you the data for free, but it's not going to be fresh. And that's the key with foreclosure data. With foreclosure data, because there's hard timelines on foreclosure and distress, you want to make sure that the data is like directly from the source as soon as it comes out type stuff. And title companies are usually going to be a horrible kind of route for that.
And I would say there's two companies that I've seen to get foreclosure data from. One is, people have probably heard of this one, Foreclosures Daily, which they've been around since forever. And up until recently, they've kind of had a monopoly on the scene. I didn't love them because they were pretty pricey, and if anyone's going to their website, it is outdated. Nothing against them. I don't really know them as individuals, but that's one company. And then another one that's been new on the scene is Data Syndicate, and I've been liking them a lot more. I know a lot of people. There's people that I work with, a coach, who actually use their data, and they've been getting some wicked solid results. So those are two that I'm familiar with. Or, the third is going and actually getting it yourself, like Sam is saying. But, with time being of the essence, personally, I would say probably go check out Data Syndicate, or really just partner with someone who is getting access to like quality data like that.
Yeah, do this. Marlon, you have like a link for them, right? Can they just like DM you on Instagram?
Yeah, they could DM me on Instagram if they want to get a hold of that, or hit Sam up. But like, hit one of us up, and we'll take care of you. We'll get you that.
Awesome. Guys, Marlon, are we running too late, bro? Are you like dying of starvation yet, or what?
Yeah, I'm always dying of starvation, but quite frankly, I'm hyped about tonight. Like, who had fun tonight? I like, it's rare that when we're doing like a YouTube live like this, we get to feel like we're hanging out with our friends. Actually, it's not even rare. It kind of happens every time. But like, who had fun tonight? Because I know I had fun tonight. Sam had fun tonight. How many of you guys, drop it in the comments if this was a good time for you, if you were getting value? So this is what I want you to do. One, if you need that, if you want to get the, if you need Data Syndicate, this is what I'm going to do. I'm a teacher by nature, so I like to show people. This is how y'all get a hold of me. Sam, can you see my screen?
Hell yeah.
Awesome. You go to my Instagram. It's Mindset Marlin, right? It's literally the easiest thing. It says we're live right now because we're live right now. You go to Mindset Marlin, and this is what you do. There's a little button up here. I can't see it because I am me, right? But you would message me. Up here would say like message. And you click message and you say, yo, Marlon, I just watched the Think Big podcast. You said you would give me this website, or you said you would hook me up with this, or whatever it is I promised to give you, I will give it to you. You just have to ask me in the right place. If you ask me on Facebook, here's what's going to happen. I will never see it. If you say that you commented on the YouTube channel, I might see that. But like, I'm telling you right now, the best place to get it from me is go on Instagram at Mindset Marlin and message me. Also, while I'm here, I'm going to point this out. Guys, look at this link in my bio. I have one link in my bio. In the month of August, I am running the Relentless Results Challenge again for people. We're running it back. This is a totally free challenge. So this is for, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a person that you're working on building better habits, and you feel like you have consistently dropped the ball, like the only thing you're consistent at is dropping the ball on your progression, on you becoming a better version of yourself, you need to do this challenge, right? if you've ever seen 75 Hard, I've taken 75 Hard and I've adapted it to entrepreneurship and business. So I've taken the things that work ridiculously well from that challenge, and then I've taken the things that work ridiculously well from me doing coaching and personal development for the last decade, and I smashed the two together, and I made it totally free for people to get rid of anybody that has the excuse of, well, I can't afford good coaching, or I can't afford, like, I'm getting rid of all barriers. There is zero barrier to you becoming a better version of yourself. So click on this link. It will take you to the school platform. Make a free school account. It costs you $0 and jump into that challenge and go in there tonight. Introduce yourself tonight because that challenge is getting started. It's popping off officially again on August 1st. I'm already running the challenge right now myself, but I'm going to run it back with the community alongside you guys on August 1st. So I gave you a lot of instructions. Really, I gave you 2 instructions. I told you how to get a hold of me, which is message me on Instagram. And I told you this is what you need to do if you want to build better habits this year, this month.
Huge. Dude, I'm going to say this. The first go around of Relentless Results, I have never seen a school community that launched with so much engagement and camaraderie and brotherhood and like I've never seen that. It's one thing to have people post and like chat with each other. It's another thing for people to go out and like work out outside and go do tough shit and then document the whole thing and bring it back to the community, which is what I loved seeing in that. Huge. Guys, today has been a big day about lending for operators getting better, for lenders getting safe. And so if you are a lender, okay, and you have money sitting on the sidelines, okay, Marlon, I don't think you have much use for like Gator lenders right now, right?
No, I don't. Not for Gator lenders. The only reason I would have use for Gator, like I don't have use for like EMD lenders, like Gator lenders, no. But if you've got capital and you haven't been finding good Gator deals and you're open to new opportunities, we can have a conversation. But quite frankly, if you're just doing Gator lending, no.
Yeah, if you have capital, guys, and you think that like EMD lending is gonna like you're holding on to your capital, I can almost guarantee if you're sitting on like 50, 60, 70K and you're like, I'm gonna EMD lend the hell out of this entire thing, I can veritably promise you will not spend more than like 10 grand like at all. Like that's it. You're just not gonna deploy. But if you do, Marlon's buying properties, right? Marlon's doing some extremely advanced shit with a portfolio loan, using it to leverage a line of credit that's huge, right? I'm buying tons of properties. I'm especially buying this new sub-2 deal in Arizona so I can actually go and hang out with Marlon more because I miss him so much. So if you guys actually do want to get involved on the lending side, do this. Go to Instagram. If you have money sitting on the sidelines, okay, and you want to get into lending and you want to do it safely and you want us to walk you through the entire process, do it properly, shoot me a DM on Instagram. And then Marlon and I, we actually lend together on a lot of deals and we'll actually partner, not just on deals that we buy individually, but we'll partner with the lenders and we'll actually make sure that they're lending on safe deals. We've done this on land deals several times. One of our best friends is an Olympic snowboarder, and we actually make sure his money is secured properly in deals for him because we love him to death. So if you have money and you want to get involved in lending, and you want to do deals with us specifically, shoot me a DM on Instagram and we'll get you taken care of. Marlon, dude, let's wrap it. I appreciate the hell out of you today, man. Like you, dude, not only did you do what I asked you to do, you went so hard and gave away secrets that people with $100 million businesses are not giving away. That's huge. So, dude, I appreciate the hell out of you. That was epic.
Bro, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody that's been hanging out here with us. So, guys, you know what to do. It's not your first time on YouTube. I need you to do the YouTube things. That means hit this, right? Like hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if it's your first time here. And I really want to know, because we have so many people participating tonight, one of my favorite things, and Sam, you can probably agree with this, is the recaps people do on their IG stories, on their Facebook posts, that afterwards from watching these, they're like, yo, this is what I learned tonight. I would love to see recaps, right? Please tag me in your recaps. So go ahead and screenshot right now. I want to see that picture in a screenshot, and go ahead and share your recap and tag Sam, tag myself. This way, not only are we spreading the knowledge, you're helping retain the knowledge for yourself so you can put it to use. You're showing people what you're up to on a Tuesday night instead of sitting down and watching like football or basketball. You're here making yourself more worthy of better deals. And ultimately, you're inviting other people who are looking for valuable information like this. So I appreciate you guys. We'll be back here again next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Arizona time for the Think Big podcast.